I'd like to start the meeting with a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We don't have any land planning issues to deal with today, but we do have minutes from 3 previous meetings. I assume everybody had a chance to read them. Corrections. I'm very happy I did not have to transpose them. Some poor person had to transpose all that. Earned it. So if there's no corrections, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 21st, September 18th, and October 16th.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Correspondence from Southampton Town Police Department. Could you make some details of it?
Yeah.
Warming up to it?
Well, they don't give us much information as they used to. I'm just gonna read down the summary report. The burglar alarms were 15. I don't know how many were false. They don't give us that information. There were 5 fire alarms, 7 ambulance calls, 3 V&T arrests. It's been quite quiet. Looking through the pages here. 1 ordinance of noise, 1 parking complaint, 1 extra driver, 11 suspicious incidents, I don't know what they are, and 60 traffic stops as opposed to 80 in September and 92 in August and 142 in July.
Wow.
That's it.
Old business. As everybody knows, we had a request to eliminate parking on a section of Town Line Road. We've all seen the pictures of where they couldn't access their driveway, the Hedges property. They couldn't get machinery into the field, party trucks, all the stuff that's not allowed to park on the East Hampton side, parked on their road frontage and blocked them in. So we're going to eliminate parking for 1,500 feet the length of that field. I assume that's acceptable. We did the lower part of the road before. How much of this do I have to read, Rhodey?
You don't have to read the whole thing, Bill, just to resolve that.
Okay. Resolve Village Code Section 215-11A is amended to insertion of alphabetically after Town Line Road the following. Town Line Road west, Parsonage Lane north 1,500 feet. I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And the new business approval to release a construction bond in the amount of $5,000 for 229 Fairfield Pond Lane to Fountainhead Construction. I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, that's normal procedure. I assume they're
That is
getting
normal
a certificate of occupancy and they're not normal construction about it.
Correct.
Right.
All the
And
above.
signed off by the building inspector.
Yep.
Right, good. Want to make a resolution to support the continued and increased state aid for local governments. This is something out of our state association. Everybody's looking for more money. We don't get much of it, but there's no reason we.
$2,000, and we just got the increase of $140.
Okay.
And who determines the allocation?
It's a formula, and I don't have the formula, but it's out of the state comptroller's office on how they determine who gets what, how. We're a small operation here, so therefore we get small amounts. If you'd like me to inquire exactly how the calculation is done, I shall.
Any opposition to that, asking for more money from the state, joining joining the association? Okay, I'll make that motion to approve that resolution. Do I have a second? All in favor?
So you made it,
Aye.
I'm sorry. Did you make it? Who did the second? Bill? Okay, thank you.
Also, we need to renew our village insurance policies. There was a slight increase, surprisingly small.
Right, there's a summary in your, a comparison from last year to the renewal,
Ye-
about 1,000.
Just a quick question. It was hard for me to go through that real quickly, but is there any noticeable lack of coverage in any area?
No, we haven't had any claims, so I guess it hasn't been tested, to be honest with you. But the only difference would be the inclusion or the cyber insurance. We've never had that before.
Right.
So that is something that the
And
client is suggesting, as is our IT.
just being a lawyer, what does that mean? What does that protect us from?
That protects us, doesn't really protect us, but if we have to rebuild everything, if we have to, you know, if our
So if we get hacked or something happens,
Something then we have,
Covers the
or
cost of-
if our information gets held hostage, or that all has to be rebuilt.
To
and
fix it
so-
is covered.
So to fix it would be the cost that's in the, I think it's, I don't remember the numbers, 250,000.
Correct, yep. And a breach response and any e-crimes, if we process any, payments.
Right.
And if there's any breaches of any e-crimes, fraudulent transfers, those kind of things.
yeah, from our accounts or anything like that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Is that enough?
That's new.
Right, but is that enough? I'm just, is that the average of, I don't.
Yes.
And the only reason I say that is that you've obviously seen people held hostage go out with them.
Yeah,
For millions of dollars.
yeah. This was the recommended amount from NYMER, which is the New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, which is the,
I had
That's-
to answer a 60-page questionnaire.
Okay.
Before they
Oh,
renewed
Lord.
it, and there, I got the, I don't know, 6 or 7 pages that referred to the IT part of it from our IT guys. So they based that on what I told them, what was told to me. I think, you know, our exposure, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
60 pages.
yes.
So I just need a motion to bind these policies.
I'll make that motion. Do I have a
Second
second?
that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the cost, I think, is reasonable because we're self-insured in a sense. I mean, it's a cooperative type insurance, so. Something which we didn't get on the agenda, but Jeff White would like to get a letter from us recommending the sale of development rights from his property, which has the greenhouses and potato barns on it. The field behind it, the rights were sold off some time ago. And he doesn't want to see, I assume that, I don't think he's gonna die tomorrow, but he wants to make sure when the property moves on that everything will be cleaned up and have a 12,000 square foot house and tennis court and all that there. So he simply wants a letter saying that we recommend the town purchase the development rights.
This is on Sag Main.
Yes, Sag Main Street.
And how much property is it?
Greenhouses.
Yeah.
I think it's 6 acres, something like that, yeah. I mean, it's no liability to us, and who knows what the town will do if they'll even entertain something like that on a property with so much going on it, but I think it's a good thing. I think it's something to do. I mean, if you guys don't agree, I'll sign the letter myself.
No, I think we.
Yeah, I think the board,
Why wouldn't we want it?
yeah, sure, absolutely.
But yeah, good. And has he filled out any applications with Conic Land Trust or anything else? Has he
Oh,
done any of
he's
that?
hooked up with whoever. Yeah,
Okay.
no, he's way ahead of it.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Okay, good. This is
Yeah.
the first I heard. It's great.
right. So I'll make a motion to authorize me to sign a letter from the board recommending the sale of the rights.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Village website, here we go.
So I think everyone got my email dated October 14th. Sort of a little bit of when I came on the board, you know, the first thing that we got out or got talked about was communication and the lack thereof of communication. And no reference and no party to anyone else. But the world really has started to favor some sort of social, some sort of media as far as the means of communication. And that starts for me with other municipalities that I've talked to with their website. So, you know, at this point, the website, when Joe Lockheim, as I hear the history, Don Lockheim, Joe Lockheim, dad, trying to get out of that one, but when Don wanted something very simple, and I think, you know, we have all the information we need on that simple website. That being said, you know, the ability of that website to be sort of the hub of communication where, and the different things can be done, you know, the emails that go out, you know, Rhodey has to put together this, you know, 700 emails. You can actually, most of these other places, actually, you can do it on the website. There are SMS texts, so, you know, we need to send out that we're having a meeting about the cell tower tomorrow, and people don't, if they've signed up to get an email, if they've signed up to get an SMS text, you can do it through the website itself. The social media that the Foster family have done with their businesses, it's obvious that that's the way that they're doing a lot of their marketing themselves. So, you know, the communication becomes, you know, to me, primary, which is why I started this sort of project. And I spoke with Southampton, I've spoken with North Haven, I've spoken with East Hampton, I've spoken with Sag Harbor, and they're all using one sort of service, which is not that expensive. You know, I thought, because we've done websites in my other position at 50,000, you know, $100,000 for a website, it's $5,000 to do it, and then there's a monthly fee of $300 or $400, which is more than we spend now. We basically spend nothing now as far as that goes, but you know, it's probably $1,000 what that had done. So, you know, it's the ability to communicate, the ability to give timely communication, the ability for people to access anything, and be able to do it. The last and probably the sort of the topping on the cake is that in 2027, we're all municipal websites are going to have to be ADA compliant, American Disability Act, which means that the blind, the deaf, all that has to be within compliance of ADA. So we're going to have to redo our website anyway. So we're in the process now of sort of looking in. I've gotten quotes from this place, a couple of other places that have done that. And I guess the idea is that I'm talking with Brody. You know, it's probably not something we're going to do immediately, but it's something that we'll get on the June because we don't have a budget for it as of now. But I think it's something that I believe is pretty important just going forward. I do think, you know, it puts us, if you look, and I think I sent everyone sort of links to some of the other websites in the area, you know, let alone other places, you know, the ability for it to look pretty and all that other thing is one thing, but to me, it's more about what it can do and what it can do for the community.
Very good.
So,
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I did those links and it's like, wow, these things sure look nice and it's easier to find stuff than what we're doing now.
You can find yourself very.
Oh, no,
easily.
yes, I do find it,
But, so.
I'm not
sorry,
picking
go ahead.
on, it's just,
I do think it increases transparency and to be up to date on something, so I'm in favor of something like this.
My question is, the cost on it. Are you going to continue your research to get us a cost? Or do you need to pick that at this
I
point?
have, I've done the research to
Okay.
get costs and then competitive costs, and
Okay,
I put a pros and cons
okay,
together, and you and I can go through that.
okay. All right, so we will need those numbers. We
Okay.
start the budget in February, March, so.
So Mark, I have a question. Will these
Sure.
people come in and present to us?
I think if we want, they could probably do a,
Oh,
if
that's
you
really
want,
nice.
if you want. Yeah, I'm sure they would. We haven't signed anything and, you know, for them to get that on.
Do we need that?
I'd like to know what everything provides. I'm sure there's different services provide different, right, content.
Well, different places, like, you know, the ability, some of them have the ability to do SMS, but they have no ability to do X, Y, and Z. I just sort of like,
It'd be good to know before we sign
And
something.
and I mean, I've looked at them too, and some of them you start basic and you can add on
Yeah,
to
we
it
can
after,
do that.
for instance, if we ever. My heart stops to pound when I say this, but if we ever have taxes to be the ability to pay them online. So
Yeah.
that would be a component or a module that
I
would
think
be
that's a
added.
great idea.
that's what they all do.
You
They
don't
do
have to account for
most
it
of these
every
places. Yeah. And I also think, you know, when we analyze this thing, you'd rather have someone who's bigger than just, you know, find the guy who did our website, Carl.
Carl.
Which is.
We're not sure where he is in the
We-
United States, we're not sure he's in the United States.
He's somewhere in the world, somewhere, it's trying to find Carl.
But it's so
you know-
simple, we don't need all of his, you know, once it's
No.
up and running.
No, but going back to the cyber, you know,
Yes.
we have to make sure you have
Mhm.
someone who actually is looking at your cyber. And is up to date on the newest and greatest
Yes.
security when it comes to that, because at the end of the day, you know, I don't care if anyone has my email or anything like that, but if we're gonna go down the road of people putting their taxes in, which, you know, we're not going down, don't worry. But if they put their taxes or make payments to do the system themselves, there's a lot of. I'm gonna leave it, Rhodian, I guess, coming out of this, Rhodian and I will sit down, we'll go through the pros and cons, I'll give you the details. And Dave, if you wanna, we can have the guy give a presentation.
I just know it's probably a pretty competitive space, so I just want to make sure we get the best product.
Yeah, no, I've
That's fine.
actually had 3 or 4 presentations, but I'm happy to answer them.
Traffic signs?
Yeah, traffic signs. I was wondering, if we need these no parking signs on Sag Main Street from Hedges to Bridge, and on Cemetery Lane, there are 29 on Sag Main and, no, 31 on Sag Main and 9 on Cemetery Lane. Also, I wondered, what was the reason that they got put up? Was that because of
People were parking there.
from the beach?
Yeah.
From July and August, just people going, or from the music on Monday nights?
All the above.
All of it?
Yeah,
Wow.
they would park their car in Cemetery Lane and walk down to either Gibson or Sag Main. Leave the car there.
Well, they do that at the store now. They park
Right.
at the store
Yeah, they do.
and get a
I
ride.
think the
home.
store is 30-minute parking supposedly, right? Used to be a
Well,
sign.
during a certain time frame,
Yeah,
or is it,
30
or does it, no? Does
No,
it, maybe
used
it
to be
doesn't
30
have a
minutes,
time
yeah,
frame,
right, no. No, it used to be 30 minutes.
but until 6 or something, or is there no time frame? You know, like 8 to 6 PM, like East Hampton has a
I'm
time
not sure
frame?
about that.
I don't know,
Year round.
year round, I mean,
Time,
time,
all day,
24/7.
24/7, I think, but Brian's got the code book.
So, I was thinking it would look nicer, but maybe, it's not doable, you live there.
I just remembered Alfred Kelman having, I think, Brody, you might be able to help me with this, but the traffic was.
Oh, he was right on the corner more or less,
Yeah,
closer
but
to the,
he headed up the,
yeah.
and it was horrendous until this was significantly changed. It was.
Well, what do you think? Should we try it?
So here's the risk. The risk is something that's happening on Town Line on East Hampton side, where people are parking their cars there and getting share rides. And so there's basically a parking lot across from Hedges on the East Hampton side of the road, where construction workers are parking their trucks and cars, and then are carpooling into East Hampton. And then-
That has nothing to do with us.
Well, that's right, there's nothing we can control about that, but that's the risk you run when you get rid of the parking signs.
Well, there are no parking signs, there are no parking signs, north on Sagamine Street of Hedges, except for maybe at the store. And there aren't any, in a few of the other streets. I don't know, I just was thinking it might look nicer. We could try it. If people start parking there, we put them back up.
Can we do half as many?
No,
The
Rhodey already told me
stop
that.
signs, I'm sorry, the regulation signs have to
Oh,
be
be a certain
placed at a
length,
certain
certain
distance
length.
so that they can be enforced. I could ask the highway department to make sure that they're the absolute minimum signs, if you want. I didn't.
40's a lot.
Yeah, and
That
that
little
is,
span.
that's on both sides, right? The
Yeah.
40, 20, and 20. I
20,
guess.
31 and 9.
Right. I mean, I can ask them and just ask them just to verify that all the signs that are there are necessary. Because we did clean up some signs over on Old Farm. I asked the highway department to go out there and make sure that the regulation signs that are out there were in fact necessary to be there. So I
Yeah, that's
can
a good
start
call.
there.
That's a good thought.
Didn't we also take some down on
Fairfield.
Daniels?
Yeah, Fairfield.
Yes,
Daniels,
because
yeah.
you changed the parking regulations over there.
We allow the parking there.
Right,
Yeah.
allowed parking like in the middle of Daniels.
On Cemetery Lane, there's, you can barely get 2 cars crossing
Yeah.
on there, so if they start, if we take the parking down, allow parking there, you're never gonna get cars through there, then.
Well, who would park on a road like that?
Somebody that
That's a
doesn't want,
no-brainer.
somebody that doesn't wanna,
Get a ticket for.
pay the ticket
Ticket for
pay
the parking.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I don't like them, I think they're ugly, but I
They
don't know,
are ugly.
I know the way people used to park, so. I don't
what
wanna go
about
back
having
to
a
that.
sign every so often saying, this road, there is no parking on this road?
Well, that's the regulation part. I'm gonna find out from the highway department, because if they are not by New York State DOT,
Yeah.
if they're not placed at a certain distance, that ticket that they may get won't hold up either.
So now,
Because the signs are things, it's not in their face. Basically, but I'll ask the highway department if they can look at it and make sure that they're all necessary. And if they're not, then they can remove the ones that are not.
Well, I would hate to see people start parking on Sag Main Street, so we would go back to what it was, but I just thought, why not try and see what was going on, but yeah, that's good.
I will ask them. You're welcome.
Financials, we're doing okay. Bills are within budget, revenue is okay. I suspect everybody's had a chance to look at it. Okay to pay bills now?
Okay.
Yes, that's what Bill said.
I'll make a motion to expend from the general fund an amount of $119,009.70.
I just had Carrie mumble in my ear, that's a lot. And you're right, it is a
That's
lot,
okay, but
but it's, general fund, the
Yeah.
119,000.
93,000.
That includes your, insurances,
insurance,
which is once a year, and it also includes the payment to the New York State Retirement, which are 2 big numbers this time of year.
So how much of that is total roughly?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Those 2 things, how much is it out of the total we're replacing? Roughly.
yeah, it's in the paperwork, it's got all that stuff, all the bills.
The pension was 32,000.
Right.
Okay.
And then the insurances are about 23,000,
24,000.
so those
So
are.
it's over 50%.
Yeah. Okay,
Do you have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to expend from the trust and agency planning fund $1,028.75.
I'll
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Capital Highway Fund, $103,898.53.
and that's for the Sag Pond Road repave
Right, and drainage.
and doing correct.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
And I make a motion to expend from the trust and agency fund $5,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, bills are paid. Yeah. Public. Anyone from the public
Can I just,
wish to
can I
speak?
make one comment? Just
Sure.
one thing, sure,
Yeah.
just one of those people on update on the Schwank property. I sent an email around and actually been in discussions with some people at Peconic Land Trust that a firm offer was proposed to the Schwank family. It's undisclosed what that amount is, and they're waiting for the lawyers to respond at this point.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
it. So,
and I think, as I understand it, the town only offered to buy off the development rights.
that's correct.
They're not looking for any additional rights.
what are the rights for DP? Says,
Oh, well, like the hopping property where they bought the hoppings to the one horse farm or vineyard.
oh, I got you.
Or
Okay,
all those
all right,
other things, yeah.
I got
Tree farm, we didn't want a tree farm there.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean those might not come into play once there is some sort of original price come about, but the initial discussions, there's nothing.
Right. Do we have any public, anybody want to do a speech? Take their shoe off, bang their podium?
Well, that's Lee, we would hear from you.
Nobody else? Mine. They're just hanging out? Oh, interesting, just hanging out.
Witnesses.
A witness. It occurred to me that about a year, sorry, Kate Foster, 698 Main Street. I'm sorry. I'm just like everybody else here, I know it, it's good. About a year ago, you guys, not all of you, had decided to have only one meeting a month. And that was, I think, in October. And with the consequences of what happened with Gibson Beach, it occurred to me that maybe a work session or something in between would be helpful, because Gibson Beach blew up and everybody came in, poured into the room, and you made an announcement that whatever had happened, but it was without any additional discussion. And that, even if I was seated there, I was thinking, well, then how did it happen? Because of the sunshine laws and the various things that are constraints on being open and information, et cetera, to the public. So I don't know how you want to handle it. If that's something that you think a website would be more, people have to go on a website in order to get the information. If they're not going to do that, they're not going to get it. I get that too. But it just seemed to me as though it was a remarkable moment for the village to acknowledge certainly what was happening at the beach, but also to understand, I was understanding that, wait, you guys must have met. And unless you didn't, I don't know, I mean, maybe it was in the air somewhere, but you definitely had made a decision preliminarily to meet that day as people convene.
Well, some of us, we didn't really have any decisions made on like the parking issue. And some of us were against it, so.
Yeah, no, I realized that, Carrie, I think it was just the idea that for me to know the, I guess you'd have to say the.
Well, I agree with you. Mark and I have been talking about that we need to have another semi-meeting or chat meeting or whatever.
Well, it would have to be, it would have to be noticed. I mean, at one point, there were work sessions, it was two meetings a month,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized what that means too. But there's just this sense of one meeting a month, what's happening in between, and that's all I'm bringing to your attention. That's all I'm really, identifying at the moment.
I think
Thank you.
communication
agree.
is an issue. I
Yeah.
think, and if you feel that way, then,
Well.
and you're here and you see that, then that's
Well,
a.
Barbara Albright was here, I have to tell you, she's governing from the grave right now, because I mean, she, if nothing more, she might have been the singular solo in this, but she was here, and I knew fully well that she was then therefore much more informed, and that's the problem with the body politic, is who's gonna pay attention, that's all. Yeah.
No, I think you're agree with that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Next meeting is, December 18th, 3 o'clock, same time, same time, same place. Make a motion to adjourn this.
So hold on. Can we discuss, meeting another
I don't
time
have
during?
another meeting.
You don't wanna have?
4 minutes.
Okay, how about
Yeah.
if we tack on another 20 minutes to our one Wednesday meeting?
Mary, just know that if you, and one of the reasons why the meetings were reduced to one is because there wasn't a lot of
Things going
information.
on.
You could take it all, do it in one meeting.
Mhm.
So that's why it was changed a year ago. But if there is something that you need to discuss, you can absolutely schedule a meeting, a work session. And yes, it would have to be noticed and everything, but there's nothing that prohibits you from, when the need arises, to schedule a special meeting or a work session to discuss it. Absolutely, you can do that. And to tack on another 20 minutes, you could be here till midnight if you want to discuss things. There's no end time to your meetings, it's the start time, that's the important thing, that you start at 3 o'clock. So if you need to, or add something to the agenda for this, that can be done as well. But there isn't, an item for discussion for you to discuss whatever you need to discuss.
Mhm.
But if there is an issue that is more, that needs its own discussion time or its own meeting time, you can certainly schedule that.
Like 20 minutes after the one Wednesday meeting?
Yes, but you'd have to advertise it
Yeah.
if you're going to
Okay,
do it at, say,
I mean,
5 o'clock on that.
starting it on another whole day for just a half an hour or whatever is,
Yeah, but it doesn't make much sense to
No.
have it after our meeting, it should be before our meeting.
well, it depends on what you're discussing.
And we've done that with budget work sessions. We've started them at 2 o'clock, an hour before your 3 o'clock meeting. But
Yeah,
again,
either
all that
way.
would have to be advertised, so would have to be,
Yeah.
I'd have to know about it in order to get the 10-day time frame to advertise. It's an emergency, and that's a different situation.
Well, I don't know of anything I want to discuss now, so in the future, I will be calling you.
Okay. And I would relate it to the mayor. So.
I mean, ultimately, it's the mayor's decision, right?
No, well, some. Motion to adjourn,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
And it's a half-hour meeting, so we're gonna do another half-hour meeting, right? Because we'll do 15
Now.
minutes before and 15 minutes now.
No, I think even though you've adjourned, I think with Mark's
Oh, and that first one.